The movie begins in a bay in Japan, where two guards are talking about the strange stillness of Shadow, who is still trapped inside a capsule, keeping him in a state of dormancy. However, when certain painful memories begin to flood his mind, his heartbeat increases, activating the hacking system that triggers his awakening. With the blaring alarm, dozens of guards arm themselves with his device to control him, but the moment Shadow opens his eyes, he breaks the glass, imprisoning him. With incredible speed, he takes down all the guards and uses his teleportation abilities to escape the prison and head toward the city. At the same time, we see Tails and Knuckles preparing for a race. Sonic thinks they're just going for a casual run, while Tom tries to reassure Maddie about the competition, reminding her how he used to calm his siblings in similar situations, even though his siblings never had the potential to cause global chaos. As the flag drops, the racers take off at lightning speed. Sonic believes he's in the lead, but when he realizes he's behind, he gathers all his energy to catch up. However, when he reaches the finish line, he discovers he lost, and his friends start teasing him and acting strangely, which makes him realize they are holograms created by drones. Immediately, his internal alarms go off, and Sonic rushes back to find a big beer celebration being held to mark the first anniversary of his arrival on Earth. Sonic concludes that the race was a distraction to prepare the surprise. His friends express that without him, none of them would be here. Tom assures him that from the day he entered their lives, everything changed for the better, and that they've become a family. The celebration continues until the afternoon in the forest. Later, Sonic thanks Tom privately for everything. While talking, they arrive at the old hedgehog's house, and Sonic decides to go inside with Tom. Tom ensures the security system is still active and shows him a drawing Sonic made on the wall the day he arrived to remind himself of his origins. Sonic admits he misses it very much and wonders if she, his mother, would have been proud of him. Tom comforts him, assuring him she definitely would have been proud, and reminds him of his strength in overcoming the pain of losing her as a child. The hedgehog thanks him for everything he has done, saying he doesn't know what he would have been without Tom. Meanwhile, Shadow roams the streets of Japan, recalling the 50 years he spent imprisoned. Suddenly, dozens of guards and entire teams surround him, intending to capture him. This only fuels his anger further. Although he asks them to leave him alone, he knows the only way to achieve that is by facing them all. Later, our heroes enjoy the quiet of the night as they roast marshmallows over a campfire, reflecting on the beautiful, serene moment they're experiencing. But this peace is interrupted when a helicopter lands in the middle of the forest. The director disembarks and informs them of a dangerous situation in Tokyo, requesting Sonic's team intervene immediately. This prompts Knuckles to ask who chose that name. Without wasting time, the helicopter flies over a portal that takes them directly to Japan. While trying to locate the enemy, a nearby explosion reveals its location. Although they don't have clear details about what they're facing, whether it's Godzilla or Hello Kitty, they are confident they can handle anything as long as they're together. Since no food is served on the helicopter, they decide to jump straight into the chaos. When they land, the situation is unclear, and there are no energy readings. The enemy convoy has been completely wiped out. They manage to avoid being destroyed by the remnants of the defeated team. Suddenly, footsteps emerge from the fire, and another hedgehog appears from the wreckage. The surprise is evident. Sonic and the new arrival stare at each other in disbelief, questioning their resemblance. But Shadow, the mysterious hedgehog, wastes no time and warns them to stay away if they don't want to get hurt. Sonic tries to reason with him, assuring him he doesn't want to fight, but Knuckles, being less patient, charges at Shadow with speed. In the blink of an eye, Shadow stops him effortlessly, using his abilities. The tension rises, and the team prepares to confront him, but Shadow doesn't give them a chance. He moves swiftly, attacking them one by one, before getting on a motorcycle and escaping. Determined not to let him go, Sonic chases after him, while dodging bullets and weaving through the streets. Shadow continues to appear and disappear on his motorcycle, making it difficult to catch him. Eventually, Sonic manages to grab hold of him, but they realize they're about to crash into a train. Both narrowly avoid the train in an unusual way. Finally, they end up on top of a tower, facing each other. Shadow gains power, and the two hedgehogs gather all their energy for a collision. The impact causes a blackout across the city. When Sonic regains consciousness, he finds himself handcuffed in a sewer drain. His friends arrive arrive to free him and scold him for acting alone, reminding him they're a team now. They need answers, and Tails is confident he knows exactly where to go. The scene shifts to a nursery where they meet Captain Walters. Upon arrival, the captain greets them with relief, and Sonic wastes no time asking about the black hedgehog. Walters explains that Shadow's story is similar to Sonic's. While Sonic found friends and family, Shadow only knew pain and loss. 50 years ago, a meteorite landed in Oklahoma, carrying a perfect form of life. Shadow was created from it and had unprecedented power. Initially, it seemed this would usher in a new era for humanity, but they later discovered this power was too dangerous and uncontrollable. An incident in the lab implicated the project leader, and the project was subsequently cancelled. Unable to free or destroy Shadow, they decided to imprison him, which ignited his rage. Upon hearing this, the heroes deduce that someone must have helped him escape. Suddenly, the lights go out, and when they come back on, Sonic sees drones outside opening fire. He realizes they belong to Dr. Eggman. At the moment when it seems they're trapped, a mysterious motorcycle rider destroys the robots and disappears without explanation. Amid the chaos, the injured captain gives Sonic a key to the most powerful weapon ever created, entrusting him to protect it before he dies. As the alarms sound, the group flees, and Director Rockwell discovers Walter's key is missing. She suspects Sonic and his friends are responsible and decides to pursue them. The heroes are confused, unsure of who to trust, and follow the motorcycle rider, who turns out to be Agent Stone, whom they know as the Goat Miller. Stone confirms that he did not come to fight or free Shadow, and reveals that someone is using Ajax's technology, who is still living in a state he inherits and is watching a TV series. When the imposter is exposed, Eggman gets angry and considers this theft. An attack on his identity is personally revealed, and Tails confronts him. He suggests that they cooperate with Eggman to quickly find the culprit. Knuckles agrees, and although Sonic hesitates, he eventually agrees too. He warns his old enemy that they are partners now. Eggman asks Sonic for a feather to regain his strength, renew his appearance, and prepare to return to work. Shadow goes back to the laboratories where the incident occurred, and he finds a sled that reminds him of Maria, the granddaughter of the project leader. At that time, Captain Walters was working there and knew the girl. Later, he asked her to take off the sled. From there, Maria met Shadow while he was imprisoned. Over time, they became friends, and Shadow would play with her everywhere on the base. They spent enjoyable times together, day and night. One time, they went out to gaze at the night sky and talked about the stars. Shadow admitted that he didn't know anything about his origins. Maria reassured him and told him that he was home now. He asked her if she thought he was dangerous, aware of the fearful looks from the scientists who saw him as a monster. Maria, without hesitation, confirmed to him that she trusted him and that he could be anything he wanted to be. What's inside him is what defines him. When the music from an old tape recorder ends, Shadow returns to the harsh reality of losing Maria. After a while, he realizes he's not alone. Professor Robotnik is there. Shadow admits he can't forget Maria, and Gerald, who is also suffering from her loss, suggests they unite to avenge her. At the same time, Sonic and Eggman arrive at the location, aware of how they irritate each other. Shortly after, the rest of the group joins them. Eggman solves the door's density issue to figure out how to open it, but Knuckles opens it easily. They find themselves in an abandoned military base, and Sonic jokes that it might be haunted. Knuckles denies it, though his friends recall his fear during the last movie night. They decide to split up. Stone and Tails team up, while Knuckles explores alone despite his fear of ghosts. Sonic goes with Eggman. Later, Knuckles fights an imaginary ghost until Shadow surprises him. Meanwhile, Stone asks Tails what it's like to be Sonic's friend. Tails responds that they're a team and real friends, like Stone and Eggman. Stone, saddened, pretends to agree. Suddenly, they hear a strange sound and see Shadow flying past them. On the other side, Sonic and Eggman realize the place isn't just a military base. It used to be homes for families. Sonic asks Eggman if he ever imagined having a family, but Eggman replies that he has no family, remembering that his personality makes him undesirable to anyone. Later, Sonic discovers the place where Shadow grew up and wonders if it will upset him. Suddenly, Shadow appears, throwing him around. He's tired of being pushed away. At the same time, Eggman finds his drone planes and hugs them enthusiastically. But his moment is interrupted by Dr. Robotnik, who appears singing. Eggman accuses him of stealing his creations, but Gerald admits he only borrowed them to bring his family together. Gerald Robotnik reveals that he is Eggman's grandfather. Eggman is shocked, noticing their striking resemblance, though Robotnik looks older, heavier, and has a peculiar smell. To confirm, Eggman asks questions only Robotnik would know the answers to. When Robotnik confirms them, Eggman hugs him enthusiastically, but demands to know where he's been all this time. Robotnik explains that he spent 50 years in a highly secret prison with no contact, but now he's here for a specific reason. When Sonic wakes up, he finds himself tied up and sees Eggman with someone who looks like him, fearing he's in a nightmare. Later, Shadow meets the professor's lost grandson, but rejects him, considering him another annoying nuisance. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles blame Robotnik for Shadow's escape and Walter's death. Robotnik, on the other hand, demands the key that Gun took from them, which Shadow managed to retrieve. They plan to use the Eclipse Cannon, a weapon created by Robotnik, in exchange for his freedom. Robotnik then explains that the cannon can target any place on the planet with extreme precision. Their first target will be Gun's headquarters. Sonic warns that this plan will endanger millions of innocent lives, but no one cares. With the key in hand, Robotnik informs them they need a second key to activate the cannon. Eggman is excited and prepares for the mission, thanking Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles for inspiring him to embark on another big adventure. Sonic takes the opportunity to remind Shadow that he knows how much he's suffering, but he asks him not to let that pain define who he is. Shadow replies that he's spent the last 50 years living Maria's tragedy, and there's no other version of him than this. Before they leave, they activate a device that creates a small black hole, starting to suck everything around it. As it seems like they'll be swallowed into the void, Knuckles says his teeth are strong enough to bite a cable to resist. At the same time, Sonic tries to grab one of Tails' rings to escape, but it flies off when it hits a broken piece, and Knuckles' teeth weaken. Just as it seems their end is near, the ring reappears in front of the black hole, transporting them outside the mountain, which collapses as it's consumed by the vortex. Later, Eggman watches the scene, remembering the year he spent trying to eliminate the strange blue hedgehog without success. With admiration, he admits that his grandfather achieved in a moment what he couldn't do. The two scientists decide to take time to get to know each other better, enjoying family activities they've never done before, like amusement parks, biking, birthday parties, costumes, and bizarre Christmas celebrations. Meanwhile, Stone feels sidelined, so he decides to leave the simulation to avoid interfering. On the other hand, Tom and Maddie enjoy their time alone, exploring new hobbies and thinking they might get used to the quiet until the house starts shaking. A ring appears in their living room, revealing Knuckles, Sonic, and Tails. The hedgehog explains that they need their help for a very secret mission. Eager to break the routine, they agree immediately, excited that they'll get a break from the little Tom for a while. Tails explains the plan. They need to infiltrate the weapon headquarters in London, which excites everyone at the chance to visit the city. Then he explains that his task will be to run at maximum speed to the headquarters, but he faces the problem of the shield, which blocks energy and could burn him. Tails suggests they disable it by hacking the system, giving them full control. Here, Tom and Maddie come in, as they'll disable the shield. Sonic will then have to run through a corridor filled with deadly laser beams. Finally, Tails explains that they need to access a vault, but have no idea what's inside. Using a ring to enter isn't an option because there's no record of the location. Maddie suggests Sonic use the Chaos Emerald to transform into Super Sonic and easily retrieve the key they need, but Sonic refuses, saying the emerald is too powerful and promises to hide it somewhere only Knuckles knows. In London, Eggman, Shadow, Stone, and the Professor are watching the headquarters in front of them. Shadow believes he can sneak in and retrieve the key, promising to eliminate anyone in his way. However, Robotnik urges patience, assuring him that he'll have a much greater chance for revenge than he ever imagined. As the scientists work, they attentively observe the crab, up. Meanwhile, Shadow is waiting for a signal to move, but is warned that the operation is still in its early stages. He's informed to be prepared for any emergencies. After a while, Tails reminds everyone of their roles. We see Tom and Maddie disguised using Tails' tools. She transforms into Rachel and he becomes Randall, allowing them to infiltrate the facility by pretending to be other people. Initially, their entry is denied, but Maddie takes the lead and quickly resolves the issue. After returning to their original forms, Maddie transforms again, this time into Rockwell, and gives Tom a nudge due to his reaction. The fake Rockwell requests access to the server room just as the real Rockwell approaches. Maddie quickly reverts to her original form to assist Tom, who transforms into Randall again, distracting them. Once inside, they follow Tails' instructions to plug in a flash drive and disable the shield. However, the device doesn't respond, so they try again. On the second attempt, they successfully disable the sensors, but notice another flash drive connected, revealing that Robotnik's team had already infiltrated. Meanwhile, Stone and Shadow pass the time with a story about the crab until Tails detects an external signal that deceives them, causing a strong current to pull the crab away. Inside the headquarters, Robotnik's team moves toward the vault, but encounters a hallway filled with laser beams. Suddenly, Eggman pushes Robotnik to test the suits he designed, proving they can pass without triggering the sensors. Robotnik, far from being upset, expresses pride in Eggman. The two dance exaggeratedly and comically as they cross the hallway. Meanwhile, an impatient Sonic decides to intervene ahead of schedule. He runs at full speed through the city, even borrowing the Queen's jewels for a moment. Despite Tails' warning that he can't bypass the shield, Sonic insists on trying. When he finally realizes he can't do it alone, Tails flies in and gives him a push, helping him successfully break the barrier. Our hero slides down the building and reaches the vault, where Robotnik's team finds the key. At this moment, Sonic appears before them, causing the scientists to flee. Robotnik tries to grab the key, but unexpectedly, they find themselves stuck to the ground in a strange way. Sonic, with a sly smile, tries to reach the key first, but begins to float in the air. Rockwell intervenes, explaining that the place is equipped with a variable gravity system. Green lifts you up, and red pulls you down. Sonic tries to justify himself, accusing Robotnik's team of being responsible for everything that happened. Rockwell interrupts, saying they all came to steal the lost key, and smugly declares that they've fallen into her trap. Eggman is shocked and unable to believe what's happening, while Robotnik gets distracted, pondering the oddity of a woman being in the military. Meanwhile, the group is captured and taken to the vault room. Rockwell warns them that the only way out is to be shackled, but Sonic remembers they still have a chance and calls for Knuckles. The big guy bursts in, breaking the facility's windows to reach them. Immediately, guards open fire on Knuckles. The others ask him to disable the ground technology, but the quantity and control panel cause chaos. Everyone is thrown into the air, stuck to the ground, and unable to move. The key also remains suspended in the air. Rockwell tries to reach it in despair. At this moment, the ceiling structures begin to collapse, making the situation even more dangerous. Suddenly, Rockwell and the key fall to the ground. The artifact lands near Eggman, and the two crawl toward it to grab it. Meanwhile, a broken wall threatens to crush Tom and Maddie. Sonic gathers all his strength, activates his power, and rushes toward the wall, breaking it to save them just in time. Thanks to his efforts, the gravity trap is disabled, freeing everyone. We also see Robotnik adjusting his teeth. Tom and Maddie thank Sonic for saving them, but soon realize that Rockwell has the key. The man begins to think of a plan as they walk through the corridors. Rockwell encounters Captain Walters and is surprised to see him alive. He says he'd rather die than let the key fall into the wrong hands. He thanks Rockwell for protecting him, but asks her to hand him the key. Now with the key in his possession, Tom returns to his original form and warns the group that they need to escape. At this moment, Shadow appears, destroying the ceiling and locking eyes with the leader and the others. Without hesitation, he charges and strikes hard, rendering him unconscious. When Tom returns to his original form, Shadow remains confused, not understanding what's happening. At this moment, Sonic appears in the scene, running toward his friend to check on him. The gesture brings back painful memories for Shadow, who walks away after doing what he thought he had to do. On the other side, Shadow frees Robotnik's team, informing them that they now have both keys. He then transports them to the professor's project location, where he shows them new suits designed for them, sparking a whirlwind of strong emotions and joy for Eggman. At the same time, it becomes clear that Stone survived the pilot who pulled the crab. But while the grandfather and grandson are enjoying their new suits, Stone contacts Eggman to warn him about his grandfather's intentions. He feels that something wrong is happening and that they are merely tools being exploited. Eggman dismisses these concerns, accusing him of jealousy, and abruptly ends the call. Despite Stone deeply regretting the possibility of losing him again, Robotnik equips him with the two keys, causing the waters beneath London Bridge to split from China, revealing a massive weapon that promises them the long-awaited revenge. Meanwhile, Sonic and his friends are worried about Tom, who is being transported in an ambulance with Maddie. Tails tries to console him, but the distressed Sonic reminds him that Tom is fighting for his life, and expresses disbelief that everything could turn out fine. Knuckles steps in to defend Tails, explaining that he only wanted to help, but the frustrated Sonic refuses to listen and insists on stopping Robotnik at any cost. He considers using the Chaos Emerald, but Knuckles reminds him that using it for revenge is not the right thing to do, echoing what he himself had said earlier. Despite Sonic seeing no other solution, he is prepared to act alone if no one joins him. He asks Knuckles to reveal the location of the emerald, but Knuckles, knowing that Sonic is not in the right state of mind to make decisions, tries to calm him down, reminding him of the family bond of trust. He explains that the emerald is guarded by a strong warrior, and they will have to face it to obtain it. The scene then shifts to Wade, playing hockey with the jewel at his home, when suddenly Sonic appears through a ring and demands the emerald. Wade apologizes, explaining that he swore to protect it and cannot hand it over. Nevertheless, Sonic quickly snatches it and transforms into his strongest form. At the same time, the news warns the entire world of a mysterious ship designed by Gerald Robotnik, which has been launched into space, urging people to take shelter. Gerald Robotnik and Shadow gaze at the vastness of Earth, with Shadow questioning if this is truly what Maria wanted. However, Robotnik disagrees and focuses on his own perspective, stating that humanity deserves this because they took everything from them. At that moment, Shadow recalls the day they were forced to flee quickly, with dozens of government soldiers trying to silence them. Walter intervened to protect a little girl from being hit by bullets, but a stray bullet caused an explosion, leading to Maria's death. With this memory in mind, Shadow channels all his anger and unleashes his full power, giving the artifacts the energy they need to activate. When Eggman sees this, he begins to question his grandfather's true intentions. Although he always wanted to conquer humanity, he never thought of destroying the planet, as the professor now confirms that they will destroy the planet and will also be victims of this destruction. Eggman suggests that together they could do something better for humanity, but Gerald Robotnik rejects him, calling humanity a failed experiment and expressing no concern for a world that has always rejected him. Despite this, Eggman insists that families support each other, as they should. Gerald Robotnik coldly reminds him that he is not Maria, and when she died, his entire family disappeared with her, leaving Eggman deeply affected. Meanwhile, Shadow prepares for revenge for the death of his only true friend, but both feel something approaching rapidly. Eggman recognizes the intruder by his quills. It's Sonic. Our hero enters, breaking a window, and takes Shadow with him. The opening closes behind them. Sonic accuses him of causing pain, but Shadow responds that now they share the pain Sonic himself has carried for 50 years, which is why he chose the path of revenge. Determined, Sonic assures him they are not alike. The two then crash onto another planet, and a blow causes the Chaos Emerald to fall from Sonic. Both rush to grab it at the same time, managing to reach it simultaneously, transforming into their strongest forms. A massive battle ensues, with Shadow appearing to have the upper hand, landing heavy blows on Sonic. However, our hero manages to recover, and together they destroy a large part of the planet. From afar, Eggman and Gerald Robotnik watch the battle, with Eggman attempting to reason with the professor to stop the chaos, but Robotnik confronts him, and a fierce fight breaks out, mirroring during the clash between the two hedgehogs. During the battle, Shadow asks Sonic where his friends are, reminding him that they tried to stop him, yet he chose to come alone. He questions what kind of hero abandons his family for revenge, referencing Tom. Shadow then delivers a powerful blow that sends Sonic flying to the moon, taking the emerald from him. With no way out, Shadow urges Sonic to finish him off, convinced that he too will succumb to the thirst for revenge as he did. But Sonic recalls Tom's words about not letting pain change him. In the end, Sonic realizes he is not like that. Despite Shadow's insistence on seeking revenge, Sonic firmly responds that no one wins through revenge. As they gaze at the stars, Shadow admits that the last time he looked at them was with Maria, and all he has felt since then is deep pain. Sonic, also recalling difficult times, states that there is something stronger than pain: love. Sonic encourages him to hold on to that feeling, and although his companion is gone, the love he felt for her remains unchanged. Together, they watch the sunrise from a different perspective, and Shadow recalls some of Maria's words, saying that even if a star disappears, its light continues to shine brightly. Later, when Gerald Robotnik's ship reappears, Shadow takes responsibility for allowing pain to consume him. Sonic, his new friend, encourages him to do the right thing, no matter how difficult it may be. The two use the Chaos Emerald to launch themselves from the moon toward the ship. Elsewhere, Eggman is being punished, but manages to free himself. A battle ensues, during which he even cuts off part of Robotnik's mustache. When he sees that Shadow has changed and chosen a different path, Gerald launches missiles at them. However, the two hedgehogs unite to quickly destroy the missiles. Gerald then opens the ship's hatch and pushes Eggman into space, but Tails and Knuckles rescue him, bringing him back to confront the old man. In an unexpected turn, Eggman pushes Robotnik toward the edge of the ship, leaving him to be consumed by the unleashed energy. Despite this, the machine remains operational, and Sonic and Shadow destroy the remaining robots, and they stand in front of the deadly beam, threatening the Earth, facing its immense power with the combined efforts of Tails, Eggman, and Knuckles. They try to buy enough time to alter the trajectory of the shot, even if it means destroying the mechanism. Meanwhile, Tails and Knuckles watch Sonic, who is unconscious, starting to fall rapidly toward the ground. Tails rushes toward him with the last ring they have left. On the other side, Eggman informs Shadow that the reactor core is about to explode, which could turn the atmosphere radioactive. Shadow instructs him to stabilize the situation as much as possible, while he takes on the task of moving the ship away. He knows this is his last chance to atone for his actions. Afterward, Eggman climbs toward the core in a desperate attempt to control the explosion. Before doing so, he sends one final message to someone dear to him, Agent Stone, telling him that he has the chance to save the world he once wanted to destroy. He admits that Stone always cared for him and was his only friend. In the end, the ship begins to disintegrate, and Shadow continues to push it away. Meanwhile, Tails loses consciousness from the force of the fall, and Knuckles grabs the ring and rushes to save his friends from a tragic end. When they land on Earth, they see an explosion in the sky and deduce that Shadow and Eggman sacrificed themselves to save everyone. Sonic is deeply moved and apologizes to them for leaving them behind, hoping they will forgive him, which they do without hesitation. After some time, the heroes gather at a camp, with Tom recovering despite his injured arm. Everyone agrees on how great it is to be together again, and it seems nothing can separate them, except for one thing: an unfinished race. They resume the race, running into a forest, but just as Sonic feels he's won, a robot resembling an echidna appears, clearly searching for Sonic, and begins to attack him. Sonic isn't surprised and prepares to fight, but hundreds of robots surround him, flying up to attack. Sonic tries to fend them off until a fast, mysterious figure appears, striking Sonic with a hammer. The figure then reveals herself to be a new pink echidna girl who looks at Sonic with a smile. And that's the end of the movie. See you in the next recap, and thank you for watching.